Welcome to Cruise News, your daily update on everything happening at sea. Visit cruisenews.io to see today's stories and sign up for email alerts.
Glad to be here.
So I want you to imagine showing up to the port on day one of your vacation. You brace yourself.
Yeah. You mentally prepare for the absolute worst.
Exactly. You're expecting that 2-hour slog of just shuffling through switchbacks, digging for your passport, standing in those endless lines.
And your vacation hasn't even started yet. You're already exhausted.
Right. But imagine instead, you just walk up to a kiosk, you look into a camera lens, and literally 10 seconds later, you are walking up the gangway.
Which sounds like science fiction, honestly.
It really does. But today we're looking at how the cruise industry is just aggressively erasing all of that friction from the travel experience.
Yeah, travel's getting radically faster and heavily integrated with, digital systems.
And we're also seeing them cautiously reopen to some unexpected, previously paused destinations too. It's a massive structural shift.
It really is a foundational shift in how the industry operates.
Because the mechanics of getting onto a ship, the psychology of what you do once you're on board, and even the geographic map of where these ships actually drop anchor, it's all evolving at the exact same time.
We are definitely moving away from the era of brute force logistics and, entering this era of hyper-optimized flow.
Which brings us to the three big developments crossing our desk today. First, we are heading up to Vancouver.
Where Canada Place just hit a pretty staggering milestone.
Oh, massive, in biometric boarding. Then, we'll look at Carnival Corporation finishing this fleet-wide rollout of a unified digital casino system.
That one is fascinating from a revenue perspective.
Definitely. And finally, we're tracking that geographic map over to the Russian Far East, specifically Vladivostok, which just resumed cruise calls after a 6-year hiatus.
Let's start with Vancouver, though, because that traditional bottleneck of getting onto a ship is basically vanishing.
Just gone. So on June 8th, the Port of Vancouver actually processed its 1 millionth cruise passenger using facial biometric embarkation.
1 million passengers. That is just wild.
And they even know who it was. It was the Fullerton family from Kentucky. They were boarding an Alaska-bound cruise.
Wait, they only introduced this biometric system like 2 years ago, right?
Yes, specifically for those Alaska departures.
That is an incredible volume of people to push through a brand new technology.
And the velocity of the efficiency gains is just what really stands out here. The industry is essentially re-engineering the flow of human beings.
Velocity is definitely the perfect word for it.
I mean, Chance McKee, he's the senior trade development account representative for the port. He shared some numbers that honestly sound fabricated until you see them working.
What kind of numbers are we talking about?
So they are reporting a 94% reduction in U.S. Customs and Border Protection processing time.
94%.
Yeah. What used to take 2 to 3 minutes at an automated passport control kiosk now takes just 10 seconds.
10 seconds. I mean, think about the cumulative effect of that.
Exactly.
When you shave 2.5 minutes off of every single passenger's processing time, the macro result is profound.
It totally changes the day. The total embarkation time, meaning from the moment you drop your luggage with the porters to the second you step onto the promenade deck, it plummeted.
From what to what?
From roughly 2 hours down to about 30 minutes.
Wow, 30 minutes fundamentally changes the psychology of your first day.
You aren't starting your trip exhausted and cranky.
Right. But the logistics of making that happen at Canada Place, I mean, that's pretty intense. It's an older layout, isn't it?
Yeah, they can't just knock down walls to make more room. Canada Place is actually celebrating its 40th year of operations.
40 years!
Wow. Holland America Line's Noordam made the very first cruise call there back in April 1986.
Oh, that's a cool piece of trivia.
And fittingly, their Eurodam opened this 40th season just this past April 24th.
But a terminal built in the 80s, I mean, that's a 3-berth facility with serious physical constraints.
Right. It requires heavily managed passenger flow just because of the physical footprint.
You really cannot push modern cruise volume through an 80s layout without some sort of digital intervention.
So the port usually uses 4 biometric stations on a standard day. But during peak periods, they dynamically scale that up to 12 tables.
And the volume they push through there is just crazy.
On a 3-ship day, between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., they were processing about 1,000 passengers an hour.
1,000 an hour. But it isn't just about plugging in a camera and, hoping for the best.
No, not at all. They are tightly managing the human element of this digital process.
That's the hidden secret of these high-tech rollouts. They require a lot of high-touch human management.
Exactly. The port actually has staff currently positioned at the biometric area.
Oh, really? What do they do?
Their entire job is to physically adjust the tablet heights for the guests and remind people to take off their hats and sunglasses.
It sounds so simple, but preventing a passenger from fumbling with a camera for 20 seconds, that's how you maintain that 10-second average.
Right. Otherwise, the whole system backs up. So the system works by comparing a live image taken right there at the terminal with a passport or immigration photo already on file.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, U.S. citizens can absolutely opt out and go through a traditional manual inspection.
But if they use it, what happens to their data?
Well, the data retention policies are starkly different depending on your passport. The Department of Homeland Security retains U.S. citizen photos for up to 12 hours.
12 hours, okay.
But for non-citizens, those images might go into a central biometric database for up to 75 years.
Wait, 75 years? That is an immense disparity.
Right. Does that create a psychological barrier for international travelers, or is the promise of a 30-minute embarkation just too tempting to pass up, like a fast pass at a theme park?
I look at it as the modern cost of entry for global travel, honestly. For most international tourists, biometric data collection is already an unavoidable part of aviation and border crossings.
So the cruise industry is essentially just catching up.
Exactly. The real driving force here isn't just passenger convenience, it's volume survival.
Oh, totally. Because Vancouver is anticipating 357 cruise calls and 1.4 million passengers in 2026.
That's a steady climb. Didn't they have like 1.2 million in 2023?
Yeah, 1.2 million in 2023, then 1.32 million in 2024.
So ports and government agencies are partnering on this because they're basically bracing for impact.
And that impact has a very specific date attached to it. The 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Oh, right. Vancouver is a host city.
Yeah, the port is expecting about 60,000 cruise passengers at Canada Place just between June 11 and July 19.
That is massive.
They're having to bring in more than 200 Destination Vancouver volunteers just to manage visitor locations and info kiosks near the terminal.
They desperately need that biometric speed to ensure the physical terminal doesn't just buckle under the combined weight of peak Alaska season and a global sporting event.
Which is why you're seeing concurrent physical upgrades, too. They added 10 new data connection points to handle check-ins outside the traditional halls.
Smart.
And 2 new elevator upgrades to move people vertically from luggage drop-off to the ground level way faster.
Everything is about erasing those physical choke points.
But, that terminal speed creates a really fascinating behavioral shift.
How so?
Well, when you board a ship in 30 minutes instead of 2 hours, your vacation starts faster.
Right.
And you immediately expect everything else on board to be just as frictionless.
Oh, absolutely.
You aren't going to tolerate standing in a physical line at the purser's desk or, digging for cash to play a slot machine.
No way! The seamless digital integration follows you right across the gangway.
Right, directly into the ship's revenue centers.
Which brings us into the casino. The digital ecosystem is definitely expanding inward.
Carnival Corporation is turning their ships into these highly connected digital ecosystems. They just announced Konami Gaming has officially completed the installation of its SYNKROS casino management system across all 29 Carnival Cruise Line ships.
All 29.
Yep. And when you add in Holland America Line, which already had the system, Carnival Corp now has 40 onboard casinos running this exact platform.
Internally, I think Carnival branded this system as SURF, right?
Yeah, serving up rewards and fun.
It is a playfully cheesy acronym, but the architecture behind SURF is incredibly sophisticated.
We're talking about personalized casino rewards, highly targeted offers, and entirely cashless wagering.
Fully integrated directly with the guest's cruise folio.
Right. They can even run virtual prize drawings across thousands of gaming machines simultaneously without a single paper ticket being printed.
Think about the psychology of that.
Oh, it's brilliant. If I'm sitting at a machine and I never have to actually pull a $20 bill out of my wallet, the physical pain of paying is totally removed.
It's just a tap of your cruise card.
So, is removing the friction of physical cash really just about passenger convenience? Or is this a structural play?
What do you mean?
Like, mirror the hyper-optimized revenue models we see in land-based Las Vegas mega resorts.
Oh, the passenger convenience is absolutely the Trojan horse for structural revenue optimization.
I knew it.
Yeah, Tom Gingoli, he's the president and CEO at Konami Gaming. He talked about this ongoing expansion fleet-wide. You have to remember, Konami's SYNKROS platform isn't some niche maritime software. No, it is already installed in over 400 integrated resorts and land-based casinos globally. It is a full enterprise-grade platform.
So what does enterprise-grade actually mean when you drop it onto a ship in the middle of the ocean.
It fundamentally changes their visibility. Before these connected systems, tracking player value on a cruise ship was, well, highly manual.
Like pit bosses with clipboards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And slot tracking was completely disjointed. Now, the ship knows exactly what you are playing.
Well,
It knows the precise duration of your session, your average bet down to the penny, and your real-time win-loss ratio.
that's intense. So beyond the guest interface where you tap your card and your balance magically appears, this system gives the ship's management a live heartbeat of the entire casino floor.
Exactly. So the algorithm knows exactly when you're getting fatigued and can instantly push a personalized reward right to your screen.
Like a free drink or a bonus play to keep you in that seat.
Yep. It shifts the vessel from being just a disconnected floating hotel to a highly connected digital property.
Maximizing revenue per square foot with the exact same precision as the Las Vegas Strip.
Marty Goldman, Carnival Cruise Senior VP of Global Gaming, stated this rollout makes the guest experience significantly more rewarding, and they expect to bring these features to millions more guests.
Because they are fully committed to this architecture, they aren't stopping with just Carnival Cruise Line in Holland, America.
Oh, they're taking it everywhere.
Yeah, they plan to deploy this enterprise-wide across their remaining 8 brands.
So eventually we'll see this exact same backbone on Ada, Costa, Cunard, P&O, Princess, and Seabourn.
Have they said who's next?
They haven't disclosed a specific timetable or announced which brand is next in line yet, but the operational blueprint is locked in.
The hardware is proven in a maritime environment. The software is integrated with the shipboard folios. The fleet-wide modernization is inevitable.
So we have the digital modernization of the port terminal speeding you up.
Right.
And the internal modernization of the ship's revenue centers tracking you. But the third structural shift in the industry is geographical.
Oh, right, because while the infrastructure gets more advanced, the physical map of where these ships sail is quietly shifting too.
Cautious reopenings in regions that have been basically off the board for years.
We do focus so heavily on the new 5,000-passenger megaships that we kind of forget about the agility of the broader fleet.
The map is expanding again, and it's usually these smaller, repurposed vessels acting as the scouts for the industry.
Let's track this over to the Russian Far East.
Okay.
On June 4th, 2026, the Port of Vladivostok received the cruise ship Eastern Venus.
And this is a highly notable industry development.
Yeah, because it officially ends a 6-year pause on cruise operations in that port.
The logistics of this itinerary tell a fascinating story about regional tourism demand, actually.
How so?
Well, this was a round-trip sailing originating from Busan. It brought South Korean passengers to Seike-Minato in Japan, then across to Sokcho in South Korea, and finally over to Vladivostok.
And while they were in Vladivostok, the guests took shore excursions to city attractions, but specifically to sites that are tied to regional Korean history.
Which is just brilliant niche itinerary planning.
Very targeted.
Yeah. The operator here is Eastern Cruise. They're a South Korean affiliate of Duwon Shipping, and they acquired this 720-passenger ship back in 2023.
Oh, fair.
They began regular cruise service from Busan with a maiden sailing in December of 2024. They aren't trying to appeal to the entire globe. They are targeting a very specific demographic with localized historical interests.
But the detail that I just cannot get over in this story is the life cycle of the physical ship itself.
Oh, it's amazing.
The Eastern Venus is actually the former Pacific Venus.
Right.
And the Pacific Venus used to call regularly at Vladivostok before 2019. But back then, it was sailing for Japan-based Venus cruises with Japanese passengers.
The life cycle of this hull is a marvel.
It's literally the exact same steel returning to the exact same port years later, but under a totally new name, a new South Korean operator, and catering to a completely different passenger demographic.
It's a masterclass in how maritime assets are reallocated.
Because when a brand retires a ship, a billion-dollar piece of steel doesn't just vanish.
No, it's acquired, refitted, and redeployed. And these smaller regional operators are incredibly agile.
Unlike the megaships.
Right. A massive global megaship requires immense draft depths, incredibly complex shoreside logistics, and highly stable, globally appealing ports of call.
But a 720-passenger ship like the Eastern Venus.
It can operate successfully as an industry scout, just testing the economic and logistical waters of a port that has been closed for over half a decade.
And rebuilding a port's infrastructure from zero is no small feat.
Definitely not.
Before the pandemic, Vladivostok was actually the most visited cruise destination in Russia's Far East.
Really?
Yeah. The statistics leading up to the shutdown show a really aggressive growth curve. They had 6 calls in 2016, 13 calls in 2017.
Wow, doubling.
Right, and in their last full pre-shutdown season of 2019, they had 16 ships booked and were expecting roughly 30,000 cruise passengers.
And then it went entirely dormant for 6 years.
Until now. When the Eastern Venus arrived, they held a traditional call ceremony on board.
They usually do for these big returns.
Yeah, you had officials from the Primorsky Territory government, the Vladivostok City Administration, and the Vladivostok International Marine Passenger Terminal.
A lot of local brass?
Very much so. They exchanged plaques and keys with the ship owner, the master of the vessel, and the crew representatives.
But the real meat of that meeting wasn't just, a photo op with ceremonial plaques.
No. The discussions immediately focused on future cooperation, increasing the number of cruise calls, and potentially even sourcing passengers locally.
Now, that last point, sourcing passengers locally, that is the ultimate goal for a regional port trying to rebuild its maritime economy.
Why is that the ultimate goal?
Because it means transforming the port from just a transit stop where tourists get off a ship, spend a few hours, buy a magnet, and leave into a home port.
Oh, where locals actually buy tickets, park their cars, and board the ship to start their vacation.
Exactly. That fundamentally alters the economic impact on the port city.
Because it requires ticketing infrastructure, long-term parking, luggage handling.
All those friction points we were just discussing with Vancouver.
Full circle.
It shows a long-term strategic intent to rebuild their maritime tourism sector by working directly with nimble regional operators who are basically willing to forge the path.
It really ties the entire global picture together, doesn't it?
It does.
You have megaports utilizing facial recognition to solve the physical limits of moving human beings. You have corporate mega brands utilizing enterprise software to solve the financial friction of the onboard experience.
And you have agile regional operators utilizing repurposed vessels to solve the logistical puzzle of reopening localized destinations.
It really leaves you with something to mull over the next time you book a ticket.
For sure.
As your face literally becomes your boarding pass to get you through the terminal in 10 seconds. And your room key becomes a highly personalized, algorithm-driven digital casino wallet tracking your every move.
And as agile ships begin scouting previously paused frontiers to welcome passengers back.
We really have to ask a bigger question. Will the cruise of the future feel less like a disconnected analog escape from reality and more like a hyper-connected, frictionless global city that just happens to float?
Something to think about.
Thanks for listening to Cruise News. Visit cruisenews.io to catch up on the latest updates and sign up for free email alerts.